The Galactic Empire had never been ignored. For thousands of years, it ruled the galaxy with power and fear. When the Empire spoke, entire worlds listened. When it gave an order, civilizations obeyed. And when it declared war, enemies surrendered before the first shot. No one wanted to fight the Empire. No one ever dared. Until now, at the center of the Empire, inside a massive command station, the Emperor sat on his throne. His eyes were cold, his face calm, but his voice carried absolute authority. "Send the declaration," he said. A high-ranking officer stepped forward and bowed. "Yes, Your Majesty." Moments later, a signal spread across the stars. Every system, every planet, every station received the same message. The Galactic Empire declares war on humanity. It was clear, direct, final, across the galaxy. Many species stopped what they were doing. Some watched in fear. Others felt relief that it was not them. A few felt pity for humanity. "Humans will not survive this," one alien leader said. "They are new. They don't understand what they are facing." Another replied. The Empire waited. They expected panic. They expected fear. They expected a fast surrender. But Earth said nothing. No reply. No message. No warning. Inside the Empire's command station, officers stood in silence as they watched the live feed of Earth. The blue planet floated peacefully in space. Clouds moved slowly across its surface. Lights from cities glowed softly in the dark. Everything looked normal. Too normal. "Where's their response?" One officer asked quietly. Another checked the systems again. "No signals, sir. No military movement. No emergency broadcasts." That didn't make sense. When the Empire declared war, even the strongest species reacted instantly. Fleets moved, shields activated, leaders begged for peace. But humanity did nothing. Hours passed, then a full day, still nothing. Humans continued their lives like nothing had happened. Ships traveled in and out of orbit. Satellites moved along their paths. Cities remained active. People walked on streets. Children played. It was as if the message had never reached them. "Impossible," a commander said. "They must have received it." "They did," another replied. "Our signal covered their entire system." "Then why are they not reacting?" No one had an answer. The Emperor leaned forward slightly. His eyes narrowed. "Send the message again," he ordered. "Yes, Your Majesty." Once again, the declaration of war was sent. Stronger, louder, impossible to ignore. This time, the Empire waited closely. Minutes passed. Nothing changed. No reply. No signal. No reaction. Now the silence began to feel wrong. "They are mocking us," one officer said, anger rising in his voice. "Or they are afraid," another suggested. The Emperor slowly shook his head. "No," he said. "Fear always makes noise." The room went quiet. Because he was right. Fear caused panic. Panic caused action. But this was something else. Days passed. The situation did not change. Humanity remained silent. No fleets gathered. No defenses activated. No leader spoke. It was like they didn't care. That thought made the Empire uncomfortable. Because no one ignored the Empire. No one. "This cannot continue," the Emperor finally said. "Prepare a demonstration." A small fleet was selected. Not enough to destroy a world, but enough to show power. A clear message. The fleet moved toward a human colony on the edge of their territory. Inside the command station, all eyes were on the screens. "This will force them to respond," a commander said confidently. "They will beg for peace," another added. The fleet arrived near the colony. The human colony was simple. A few structures. Mining equipment. Small ships. No defenses. No weapons. No military presence. "Were there soldiers?" someone asked. There were none. The Empire fleet moved closer. Weapons locked. Target selected. "Begin attack," the fleet commander ordered. But before they could fire, something strange happened. Their sensors flickered. Just for a moment, then returned to normal. "Report," the commander said. "Minor system glitch," an officer replied. "All systems operational." The commander frowned but gave the order again. Fire. Nothing happened. Weapons did not activate. Why are we not firing? Systems not responding. Then one ship disappeared. Not exploded. Not damaged. Just gone. Where did it go? Before anyone could answer, another ship vanished. Then another. Panic spread across the fleet. Retreat. Retreat now. But it was too late. Ships continued to disappear. No sound. No light. No warning. One by one, they were erased. Back in the Empire's command station, silence filled the room. The entire fleet was gone. No signals. No wreckage. Nothing. The human colony remained untouched, still active, still peaceful, still normal. The Emperor stood slowly. For the first time in many years, something felt wrong. Very wrong. Send scouts, he said quietly. No one argued, because now the truth was clear. This was not a normal war, and humanity had still not said a single word. The Empire did not panic, at least not openly. Inside the Grand Command Station, everything looked calm. Officers stood in their places. Screens showed data. Orders were given in steady voices. But beneath that calm, fear had started to grow. An entire fleet had vanished. Not destroyed. Not defeated. Just gone. That had never happened before. The Emperor stood in silence, watching the last recorded moments again. The footage showed ships disappearing one by one. No explosion. No enemy. No visible attack. Just empty space. Play again, he said. The recording restarted. A ship gone. Another gone. Nothing else. No energy spikes, a scientist said. No weapon signatures. No distortion strong enough to explain this. Then what did this? A commander asked. No one answered, because no one knew. The Emperor finally turned away from the screen. Send reconnaissance units, he ordered. Small, fast, and silent. Yes, Your Majesty. Within hours, a group of scout ships left the Empire space. They moved carefully, avoiding detection. Their mission was simple. Find out what happened. Days later, they reached the human colony. Everything looked the same. The colony was still active. Machines were working. Ships were landing and leaving. Humans walked calmly between buildings. No signs of damage. No signs of battle. It was like the Empire fleet had never been there. This is impossible, one scout whispered. They moved closer, scanning everything. Scanning for debris, another said. Nothing detected. Any signals from our fleet? Negative. The silence in their communication channel felt heavy. One of the scouts focused on the exact location where the fleet had disappeared. There should be something here, he said. Even a destroyed fleet leaves something behind. But there was nothing, not even dust. Zoom in, the leader ordered. The scanners increased their focus. Still nothing, just empty space. Then suddenly, their systems flickered. Just for a second, the lights dimmed. Screens went black. Then everything returned. What was that? Someone asked quickly. Unknown interference, the system officer replied. All systems are back online. But his voice was not steady. He checked the readings again. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Run a deep scan, the leader ordered. The systems began scanning again. Seconds passed. Then, another flicker. Longer this time. The ship shook slightly. Something is affecting us, one pilot said. Stay calm, the leader replied. Pull back slowly. They began to move away from the colony. But something felt wrong, like they were being watched. Do you feel that? One scout whispered. Feel what? I don't know, like something is here. The leader didn't respond, because he felt it too. Not a sound, not a signal, just a presence. Return to base, he ordered immediately. The scouts turned and accelerated away from the colony. As they left, everything became stable again. No more flickering, no more interference, no more strange feeling. But no one spoke, because they all understood one thing. Whatever had destroyed the fleet was still there, and it had noticed them. Back at the Empire's command station, the The scouts delivered their report. The room was silent as they spoke. No debris, no damage, no signs of battle. And the humans, the Emperor asked, they continued their normal activities. No reaction to our presence. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. They saw you. Yes, Your Majesty. We made no effort to hide at close range. And they did nothing? Nothing. That answer was worse than any attack. The Emperor turned to his advisors. What about the interference? A scientist stepped forward. We recorded brief system failures. Unknown cause. No known weapon matches this pattern. Could it be a natural phenomenon? Someone asked. The scientist shook his head. No, it was controlled. That word echoed in the room. Controlled. So, the Emperor said slowly, you are telling me that something destroyed our fleet, left no trace, and is still there unseen? Yes, Your Majesty. And humanity knows about it? The scout hesitated. Yes, because they live right next to it and continue as if nothing is wrong. No one spoke, because that was the truth. Humans were not afraid. They were not hiding. They were not even reacting. It was as if they trusted whatever was there. That thought made the Empire uneasy. Very uneasy. This is no longer a simple war, the Emperor said. No, Your Majesty, a commander replied. It is something else. The Emperor walked slowly toward the large viewing window. Stars stretched endlessly before him. For thousands of years, he said quietly, we have been the strongest force in this galaxy. No one disagreed. But now we face something we do not understand. He turned back, and that makes it dangerous. The room remained silent. Prepare a larger fleet, he ordered. A few officers looked surprised. Your Majesty, if we don't understand the threat, then we will force it to reveal itself. The Emperor interrupted. His voice was calm, but firm. We will not be ignored. Yes, Your Majesty. Orders were sent immediately. A much larger fleet began to gather. Warships, carriers, heavy weapons. This was no longer a demonstration. This was a real attack. But deep inside, many officers felt something they had never felt before. Doubt, because for the first time, they were not sure they could win. And far away, in human space, nothing changed. The colony continued its work. Ships came and went. People talked, laughed, and lived their lives. And somewhere unseen, something waited, watching, silent, ready, and humanity still said nothing. The Empire had faced many enemies before. Some were strong, some were clever, some were desperate, but all of them made one mistake. They fought back. Humanity did not, and that made them the most dangerous enemy the Empire had ever faced. The new fleet was not small. It was one of the largest battle groups the Empire had ever sent outside its core systems. Massive warships filled the dark space, their hulls covered in weapons strong enough to destroy planets. At the center of the fleet was a command ship, Dominion's Will. Inside, the fleet commander stood tall, his voice steady. All units, maintain formation. Stay alert. We are entering human-controlled space. Yes, Commander, voices replied. The fleet moved forward slowly. Weapons ready. Shields active. Every system was watched carefully. No one wanted to repeat what happened before. As they crossed into human space, nothing happened. No alarms. No attacks. No resistance. Only silence. The stars looked the same. The darkness felt the same. But something about it was different. Any signs of enemy activity? The commander asked. Negative. A sensor officer replied. No fleets detected. No weapon systems active. That's impossible, another officer said. They must have defenses. They do, the sensor officer said quietly. We just can't see them. That answer made the room uncomfortable. The fleet moved deeper. They passed small human stations. Cargo ships floated peacefully. Mining platforms worked without pause. Humans were visible through observation screens. Walking, working, talking. They did not run. They did not hide. They did not even look afraid. Why are they acting like this? One officer asked. They know we are here, another said. We are not hiding. Then why no response? No one had an answer. Hours passed. The fleet reached the same colony where the first fleet had disappeared. All units, stop, the commander ordered. The ship slowed and held position. The colony was below them, still active, still calm. Scan everything, the commander said. Scanning, the sensor officer replied. Seconds passed. Report. No threats detected. No energy signatures? Nothing unusual. The commander stared at the screen. That is not possible. Then, a warning signal appeared. Commander, we are detecting a fluctuation. Source, unknown. It's not coming from the colony. Then where? The officer hesitated. Everywhere. The lights flickered. Just for a moment. Then everything returned. The crew looked at each other. It's starting, someone whispered. Stay calm, the commander said. Shields to maximum. Weapons ready. Yes, Commander. The fleet prepared. Every ship locked its systems. Every weapon was aimed. They were ready for anything. Or at least they thought they were. Then it happened. One ship, on the edge of the formation, disappeared. No explosion. No warning. No signal. Just gone. Ship 47, respond, an officer shouted. No answer. Where did it go? Before anyone could react, another ship vanished. Then another. Panic began to spread. It's happening again. Maintain formation, the commander shouted. Do not break. Another ship disappeared, this time closer. Too close. Commander, we are losing ships rapidly. Target the source, he ordered. We can't. There is no target. Then fire at the colony. Yes, Commander. Weapons charged. Energy built. But before they could fire, the systems failed. All screens went black. For one long second, there was nothing. No light, no sound, no control. Then everything came back. But it was worse. Half the fleet was gone. Just empty space where ships had been. The remaining ships shook slightly. Retreat, someone shouted. Full retreat. The commander hesitated for only a second. Then he gave the order. All ships, retreat immediately. The fleet turned and accelerated away from the colony. Ships moved fast, breaking formation, trying to escape. But something followed them, still unseen, still silent. Another ship vanished. Then another. It didn't matter how fast they moved. It didn't matter where they went. Whatever it was already there. Commander, we are losing control, an officer said. Navigation systems failing. Communications unstable. The commander gripped his chair. What is this thing? He shouted. No one answered, because no one knew. One of the smaller ships managed to break away. It pushed its engines beyond safe limits. Jump drive charging, its pilot said. Faster, another shouted. Behind them, ships continued to disappear, one by one, without a trace. The small ship finally escaped. Its jump drive activated. In a flash, it was gone. Back at the Empire's command station, alarms sounded. A single signal appeared. Incoming transmission. Put it through, the Emperor ordered. The screen flickered. A damaged ship appeared. Its systems were failing. Its crew looked terrified. This is Scout Vessel K-19, the pilot said, breathing heavily. Report. The Emperor demanded. The pilot's eyes were wide. We are not fighting a war. The signal broke for a moment. Continue, the Emperor said. The pilot spoke again. We are being erased. Static filled the screen. They are not using weapons. They are removing us. Who is? The Emperor asked sharply. But the pilot didn't answer. His voice dropped to a whisper. They don't even see us as enemies. The screen went black. The signal was gone. Silence filled the command station. No one spoke. No one moved. The Emperor stood still. For the first time, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Far away, in human space. The colony continued its work. Machines moved. Ships landed. People lived their lives. Calm, peaceful, unchanged, as if nothing had happened. And somewhere, beyond sight, the silent defense waited. Not angry, not aggressive, just active. And humanity? They still didn't react, because to them, this was not a war. It was just a problem being solved. The Empire no longer celebrated its power. The halls of the command station were quiet now. Officers spoke in low voices. No one made bold claims anymore. No one laughed, because something had changed. For the first time in its long history, the Empire did not understand its enemy. The Emperor stood in a dark chamber, watching the stars. 2 fleets had been lost, not defeated, not destroyed, erased. And the worst part was this. Humanity still had not spoken a single word. They are hiding something, the Emperor said. Behind him, his advisors stood still. Yes, Your Majesty, one replied carefully. They must be using a new weapon. Or something beyond a weapon, another added. The Emperor turned slowly. Then we will learn the truth. This time, the Empire did not send fleets. It sent shadows. Spies. Small, silent units trained to observe and survive. They were the best the Empire had. They had studied hundreds of species. They knew how to hide, how to listen, how to disappear. If there was a secret, they would find it. The spies entered human space one by one. No formations, no signals. Each one moved alone. Each one carried one mission. Find out what humanity is hiding. Days passed, then weeks. Some spies reported small things. Human colonies remained calm. No visible defenses. No military activity. But those reports changed nothing. The real question remained unanswered. What destroyed the fleets? Then the report stopped. One by one, the spies disappeared. No distress signals. No warnings. Just silence. Back at the command station, tension grew. We are losing them, an officer said. How many remain? The Emperor asked. Only one, Your Majesty. The last spy was deep inside human territory, far beyond the outer colonies, closer to Earth, closer to the center. His ship was small and hidden. He had turned off all non-essential systems. He moved slowly, carefully, watching everything. And then he saw something. At first, it looked like empty space. But his instruments showed something different. A pattern, not visible to the eye, but there, everywhere. What is this? He whispered. He adjusted his scanners. The pattern became clearer. Lines, waves, movement, not random, controlled. He moved closer. His ship trembled slightly. His systems flickered. But this time, he did not pull back. I have found something, he whispered into the recorder. This is not a weapon, not in the way we understand. He paused, trying to find the right words. It is space itself. The data continued to update. The pattern was changing, shifting, responding. It's watching me. The spy felt cold. There was no sound, no signal, but the feeling was real. He tried to move away, but something strange happened. His ship slowed down, not by force, not by damage, but as if space itself was holding him. No. He pushed the controls. Nothing changed. Then his screens flickered. Not fully black, just unstable. It knows I'm here, he said. His voice was no longer steady. He quickly sent all his data back to the Empire. Every scan, every reading, every second. Then he spoke one final message. This is not a defense system. It is everywhere. It is always active. It decides. The transmission cut. Back at the Empire's command station, the data arrived. Scientists rushed to analyze it. The room filled with quiet urgency. What did he find? The Emperor asked. A scientist stepped forward, pale and shaken. Your Majesty, humanity has changed something fundamental. Explain. The scientist hesitated, then spoke slowly. They are not using weapons. They are not using fleets. They are not even defending in the normal sense. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Then what are they doing? The scientist looked at the data again, as if hoping it would change. But it didn't. They control space. Silence. What does that mean? A commander asked. It means, the scientist said, they can decide what exists and what is not. The room went completely still. The fleets, the ships, another officer said. They were removed, the scientist replied. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just removed from existence. That is impossible, someone whispered. Yes, the scientist said quietly. It should be. The Emperor stepped forward. His face was calm, but his voice carried weight. And how long have they had this power? The scientist looked at the deeper data, then answered, a long time. The Emperor understood immediately. That is why they did not react, he said. No fear, no panic, no defense. Because they didn't need to. To humanity, the Empire was never a threat, just something temporary, something that could be handled far away on Earth. A man stood by a window, looking at the stars. Behind him, soft lights glowed. The room was peaceful. Another one? Someone asked quietly. The man nodded. Yes. Should we respond? He thought for a moment, then shook his head. No, he said. Outside, space remained calm, silent, unchanged, but hidden within it was something vast, something quiet, something absolute. Humanity's greatest creation, not a weapon, but a decision, and the Empire had already been judged. The Galactic Empire was no longer certain. For thousands of years, it had ruled with confidence. Every decision was clear. Every enemy was understood. Every war had a plan. But now, there was no plan, because there was no clear enemy. Inside the command station, silence had become normal. No one rushed. No one argued. No one spoke loudly. Fear had changed them. Not the kind of fear that causes panic, but the kind that makes you think very carefully. They control space itself. The scientist's words still echoed in every mind. It sounded impossible, and yet it explained everything. The Emperor sat alone now. No grand speeches. No proud commands. Just quiet thought. They did not fight, he said slowly. They did not defend. They did not respond. Because they didn't need to. That truth was simple and terrifying. A commander entered the room carefully. Your Majesty, the Emperor did not look up. Speak. Our outer patrols have begun to disappear. The Emperor's eyes lifted slightly. How many? 3 groups so far. Any signals? None. That answer was expected, and still it felt heavy. They are expanding, the Emperor said. Yes, Your Majesty. The commander hesitated, then added something more. They are not attacking our core systems. The Emperor looked at him. Explain. They are removing our ability to fight slowly. That made the room feel colder. Not all at once, the commander continued. Only the fleets. Only the military paths. Only the outer lines. The Emperor understood. They are not trying to destroy us. No, Your Majesty. They are making us unable to resist. Silence followed, because that was worse. Destruction was simple. War was clear. But this was control. Far beyond war. Send a message, the Emperor said suddenly. The commander looked surprised. A message to Earth. There was a pause. What should we say? The Emperor thought for a moment, then spoke calmly. Request communication. No threats. No commands. Just a request. The message was sent across human space. Clear, direct, respectful. For the first time, the Empire did not speak as a ruler. It spoke as something else. Something uncertain. Time passed. Minutes. Hours. The entire command station waited. And then something happened. A signal appeared. Incoming transmission, an officer called out. The room froze. Source, the commander asked. Earth. The Emperor stood, put it through. The main screen turned on, but there was no face, no image, just a calm voice. Human, you declared war. The voice was simple. No anger, no emotion. The Emperor stepped forward. Yes, he said. There was a short pause. Then the voice spoke again. We chose not to. The room went silent. That is not how war works, a commander said quietly. But the Emperor raised his hand. Explain, he said. The voice responded calmly. You expected fear. You expected reaction. You expected conflict. Each word felt precise. But we do not see with the same way. The emperor's eyes narrowed. Then how do you see it? There was another pause. Then the answer came. As a problem. The word echoed in the room. A problem? The emperor repeated. Yes, and problems. The voice stopped for a second, then finished. Are solved. The connection ended. No warning. No goodbye. Just silence again. No one spoke, because now they understood. This was not a war. It had never been a war. It was something else entirely. Days passed. More fleets disappeared. Not randomly. Carefully. Every movement of the empire was being limited. Every option slowly removed. Trade routes collapsed. Military paths vanished. Communication lines weakened. But civilian worlds were untouched. No cities destroyed. No people harmed. Only power was being taken away. Piece by piece. The empire began to feel something new. Not defeat. Not yet. But something close. Helplessness. We cannot fight this, a commander admitted. No one disagreed, because there was nothing to fight. No ships, no weapons, no target, just absence. The emperor stood once more at the viewing window. The galaxy looked the same. Stars shining, space endless. But everything had changed. They never feared us, he said quietly. No, your majesty, the commander replied. They simply waited. The emperor nodded. Yes, they waited until we forced them to act. And now they were acting, not loudly, not violently, but completely, far away, on Earth. The same man stood by the window again, watching the stars. They're starting to understand, someone said behind him. Yes, he replied. Will they stop? The man looked out into space, then answered simply, they already have. Because deep in the galaxy, the Empire had made its final mistake. It had declared war on something that no longer needed war to win, and now there was no way back. The galaxy was still, not peaceful, not safe, just quiet. The Galactic Empire still existed. Its world still turned. Its people still lived. Its leaders still ruled. But something important was gone. Power. The Empire no longer controlled the stars. Its fleets had vanished. Its military paths were broken. Its reach had become small. And the strangest part was this. No great battle had taken place. No final explosion. No moment of victory. Just silence. Inside the command station, the Emperor stood alone again. The room that once held pride and strength now felt empty. Not because it lacked people, but because it lacked certainty. Reports came in every hour. Another fleet has disappeared. Outer defense line no longer active. Communication delay increasing. Each message said the same thing in a different way. The Empire could no longer fight. But humanity had not attacked their cities, had not destroyed their worlds, had not taken their people. They had only removed one thing, the ability to wage war. Why? A young officer finally asked. His voice was quiet, almost afraid. Why not destroy us completely? No one answered at first. Then the Emperor spoke. Because we are no longer a threat. The words were simple, but heavy. They are not cruel, he continued. They are not angry. They are finished. That truth settled into every mind. This was not revenge, not punishment. It was a decision, a final one. Days later, something unexpected happened. A new message arrived from Earth. The entire command station gathered once more. No alarms, no urgency, just quiet attention. Open it, the Emperor said. The screen activated. Again, there was no face, no image, just the same calm human voice. This will be our final message. No one moved. No one even breathed loudly. You declared war. The voice continued slowly. We chose not to. A short pause. You continued. Another pause. So we acted. The Emperor stepped forward. And now, he asked. There was a moment of silence. Then the voice answered. Now it is over. The Emperor frowned slightly. Over? Yes. You can no longer reach us. You can no longer threaten others. You can no longer expand through force. Each sentence was calm, clear, final. Your people will continue to live. That part surprised many. Your world will remain. The Emperor's eyes softened slightly. But your wars will not. Silence filled the room, because that was it. That was the end. Not of life, not of existence, but of war. Why? The Emperor asked one last time, not in anger, not in pride, but in honest confusion. Why spare us? The answer came without delay. Because we were once like you. The words carried something new, not emotion, but memory. We fought. We conquered. We believed power meant survival. A pause. But we learned. The Emperor listened carefully. War does not prove strength. Another pause. It only proves limitation. The connection remained open, as if giving the Empire time to understand. Slowly, the Emperor lowered his head, not in defeat, but in realization. For thousands of years, he said quietly, we believed we were the strongest. The voice did not respond, because it didn't need to. Now the truth was clear. Strength was not in destroying enemies, not in winning battles, not in ruling through fear. True strength was not needing to fight at all. The transmission ended. No signal, no trace, just silence again. Days turned into weeks. The galaxy began to change. Without the Empire's fleets, smaller species began to grow. Trade improved. Fear slowly faded. There were no sudden celebrations, no loud victories, just quiet progress. And humanity? They remained the same, silent, watching, not ruling, not controlling, just present. Far away on Earth, the same man stood by the window one last time. The stars looked calm. They'll be fine, someone said behind him. Yes, he replied. They've learned. Was it worth it? The voice asked. The man thought for a moment, then nodded. Yes, because no worlds had burned, no billions had died, and yet a war had ended. The greatest war was the one that never truly began. In the end, the galaxy understood something important. The most powerful species is not the one that fights the hardest, but the one that has already moved beyond fighting. And humanity, they didn't react, because they didn't need to. They had already solved the problem. Completely, silently, forever.